I want to show you just how easy it is to use something like Cursor AI to do something like this. Create a slider on your homepage or on your web page. Super easy. And I'm working right now on my own personal portfolio. This is going to be part of it. And I want this slider to interact just like this. So let's get started. So first things first, we're going to use like a library that exists on the internet called Glide.js. Well, how did I find Glide.js? Well, it's something that exists out there that's pretty vanilla. So what I did was I searched for vanilla JS slider. All right, first result. So this is something that's just pretty lightweight, has a lot of the functionality you need. You can jump over to their website and see exactly how it interacts. Looks good to me, right? Good enough. And so you can see right now, here's my portfolio. Right now it's got a static image in this place. So how do we get started with Cursor? Well, first thing first, you got to download the Cursor app. You can get that from their website. I won't go into details about that. You can get that from their website. And what I want to do is I want to add this to the work section part of my website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Cursor Composer in the left-hand or right-hand panel here. And really my workflow with Cursor looks something like this. I've set up my project. I've given it I've created a prompts folder, and I've given it some markdown instructions here on how to write code for me. You can go to something like Cursor Directory. Let's see if I can find this Cursor Directory. Yeah, there it is. This gives you a ton of great prompts or, prompt kind of guidance. But let's do this. Let's get this glide thing going, right? So I want to replace this image with this glide component. So how would I go about doing that? Well, let's go over to the image in my code. It's right here. You can see it on the screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk to the composer. I'm going to say, I actually use my microphone for this. So let's try this out. So I'm going to use my mic and say, oh, it says Mike said there. Okay, let's actually do something else because it's recording. I want to replace this image with the Glide.js slider library. And I want the slider to have rounded corners. I want the controls to be just slightly below the slider using the colors of this component, like yellow, period. And I want the slider to move left to right with the default transitions. When the user swipes on it, either with touch on mobile or clicking on desktop. Okay, and so then what I'm actually going to do is before I submit this, I got to give my AI, I got to give it some context. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to Glide.js or Glide.js, their website, go over to the docs. I'm going to say, I'm just going to paste in this documentation so it has the most up-to-date documentation. I mentioned the transition, so I'm going to copy this transition thing as well. Just give it some context that makes sense. What else did I say? Swiping, maybe this works. Yeah, we'll start with that. We'll go with that. We'll try it. Okay, we'll see what happens here. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to press submit. And what happens is the AI starts going to town, starts working. Okay, so it starts talking through exactly what it's doing. In this case, it's taking that slider, it's implementing this on this works section component that I built. I won't go into detail about my whole code infrastructure right now, but you can see it's kind of actively going about adding this on the page. Okay, here we go. Still, oh, yep. It says, it instructs me to, I need to install this glide.js package. So let's just say I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm just going to have it run the command for me. So it runs it right in line here. Boom. Look at that. Looks great. And then it keeps going. It's got a few more things it's doing. You can actually see it's live updating over here. So we can actually test it out. Oh, look at it. It looks great. And so you can preview these changes right in line. This is so cool. Okay, so then you see it replaced the image and it puts everything right in line here. Oh, this is so great. Okay, so then I go ahead and accept this. Well, let's do a little quality assurance testing. I've got my simulator here as well. So I can see this on mobile, how it might appear on a mobile phone. I don't love that the dimensions are kind of like tall here, so let's update that. Let's go ahead and say, looks like the dimensions are pretty tall on mobile. I'd like the ratio of the image and the perspective of the image to essentially be the same across desktop and mobile. Boom. Let's see if this works. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and use the same 16:9 aspect ratio across all resolutions. And you can see it starts to apply some Tailwind styles. I'm using Tailwind here. It has an interesting padding here of percentage. Sometimes it does weird stuff like that. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. I can do that. Let's check my mobile resolution again. Look at that. That looks great. Now, if you recall, I think this slider here, I wanted the other ones to be white or kind of like a opacity of slight gray. And then I wanted this one that's active to be a little bit wider. So I'm going to ask it to do that. Make the controls, the active control, more of a wide yellow band, and the inactive controls a slightly transparent white. We'll go with that. So it's updating right here. And one thing that I can do is I can actually click this file name and it'll take me right down to this. So when I'm working with Cursor, a lot of times what I'm going to end up doing, look at that, it already updated it. Looks great. I'm going to actually go through these things line by line and just say, does this make sense? Does it not make sense? Sure. I'm going to go ahead and accept this. If I don't want to, accept something, I can just reject it line by line. This allows me to essentially be like a proofer of the code. So look how cool this is. There you go. So that's it. That's it. In under essentially 5 minutes, I created this slider component on my website, changing it from an image to a slider. And it's really that simple with Cursor. You can start to ask it to do things in plain language. And I like to use my microphone, so it's just comes out of me in plain language, and the AI will actually understand it. It's super cool. And this is how I've built this entire website. And this slider, to be honest, is the simplest of all these things that I've been doing on my website. This is pretty straightforward. I've been doing some really heavy JavaScript work and complex interactions. I'm excited to launch this portfolio and show you all what I've been working on. There's going to be a lot coming. It's going to be pretty cool. So stay tuned, and I'll try to do more updates like this. This has been fun. So let's do this again soon.